Mabuhay! Good day everyone! We are the Group 4 and we will discuss about the environment and sustainability. So for the introduction of the topic, the hospitality industry uses large amounts of natural resources and also releases waste that degrade the natural environment. In order to minimize the negative effects on the environment, hotels and tourism resorts are adopting environmental sustainability in facilities management. So the term environment and sustainability and hospitality industry, it describes actions taken by and within the travel and tourism sector. Recognizing both the positive and negative effects of tourism is the goal. It seeks to balance the beneficial effects with the least amount of negative ones. For example, a few detrimental effects on education are overcrowding, environmental harm, and economic leakage. On the other hand, creating jobs, preserving and interpreting cultural heritage, protecting species, restoring landscapes, and more are all positive effects on a location.
Good day, my name is Diana Tolosa and for today we'll be discussing about the environmental and sustainability. But first, what is environmental? When we say environmental, it's about protecting the environment by means of decreasing the harmful effects of the operation of an institution, while the sustainability refers to the ability to maintain or support a process continuously over time or to preserve yung mga natural resources or yung mga physical resources para sa hinaharap ay patuloy silang nagagamit o mayroon pa ding napagkukunan. It refers to the responsible management of natural resources in order to preserve the lives of the human beings and other organisms in the ecosystem. Kagaya ng sinabi ko, ito ay tumutulong sa pag-preserve ng mga natural resources like plants, animals, air, water, that even though we consume those, we still able to minimize the negative effect that it may bring in the environment. That's why it's important to adopt to the sustainable practices like the practices of reduce, reuse, and recycle, because a simple human activity can bring a big impact in the environment. Not only the individual should adopt, but also the bigger industries, because the bigger they are, the bigger they consume, and failure to adopt sustainable practices will lead to the depletion of the natural resources that will end to the earth not able to support any form of life. The hotel industry uses a lot of energy and water due to the nature of its operation. Many hotels are embracing environmental sustainability and hospitality facilities management. Dahil malaki ang industry ng hospitality, malaki din ang kinokonsume nito sa natural resources. At para hindi sila maging malaking threat sa environment, they adopt to the environmental sustainability, kaya may mga nakita tayo na eco-friendly hotels, green hotels, and hotel that has a practices of sustainability like the water conservation, proper waste management, plastic-free, and etc. Many issues and concerns about the environment have been the headlines of the media for almost every day. This includes the global warming, greenhouse effect, deforestation, pollution, and many more. Many in the hotel and restaurant industry has taken action or initiative about the crisis. The action that they have been taken is to adapt to the change of being eco-friendly type of business, or what we call green business or sustainable business. To help the environment, they promote the practice of reduce, reuse, recycling, preventing of waste, and other sustainable practices.
Green business. A green business is a company that operates in an environmentally sustainable manner, meaning it considers the impact of its operations on the environment and works to minimize any adverse effects. This can include reducing waste, conserving natural resources, and using renewable energy sources. Sustainable business. A sustainable business or a green business is an enterprise that has a minimal negative effect or potentially a positive effect on the global or local environment, community, society, or economy, or a business that strives to meet the triple bottom. An environmental management system or EMS is a framework that allows your company to reduce its environmental impact while maintaining operational efficiency. An EMS can be a powerful tool for managing the environmental aspects and negative impact of an organization. Common examples of an environmental management might be to have systems in place to control and prevent pollution, such as effluents getting into a river course, or the implementation of biodiversity program to ensure that the flora and fauna of an area is enhanced once a project has been completed. ISO 14000 or ISO 14000 is a family of standards by the International Organization for Standardization or ISO related to environmental management that exists to help organizations and to minimize how their operations, processes, and etc. negatively affect the environment. That is cause adverse changes to air, water, or land and comply with applicable laws, regulations, and other environmentally oriented requirements, and continually improve in the above. ISO 14000 is similar to ISO 9000 quality management in that both pertain to the process of how a service or product is rendered rather than the service or product itself. As with ISO 9001, certification is performed by third-party organizations rather than being awarded by ISO directly. The ISO 19011 and ISO 17021 audit standards apply with audits are being performed. The requirements of ISO 14001 are an integral part of an European Union or Eco-Managements and Audit Scheme or EMAS. EMAS structure and material are more demanding, mainly concerning performance improvement, legal compliance, and reporting duties. The version of ISO 14001 is ISO 14001 2015, which was published in September 2015.
EMRHO or Environmental Management Manual for Restaurant and Hotel Operation. It provides advice in practicing environmental management. Ito yung kung paano mape-preserve o makakatipid sa mga energy and water sa ating mga ginagamit sa pang-araw-araw. Importance of energy and water conservation in terms of environmental benefits and financial incentive should be built into the facilities planning activity. To illustrate this point, in luxury-type hotels, temperature and control bulbs are installed in dry clean machine to monitor and control quantity. Ito yung kung paano makakatipid sa energy and water ang bawat hotel dahil dito, makokontrol nila yung energy and water na ginagamit sa hotel. Dahil makakatulong ito sa kanila para mas mapatipid ang kanilang gastusin, pero ito ay may consequence sa ating kapaligiran dahil nagagamit natin ang energy and water na para sa pangkalahatan. Philippine environmental law that cover the hospitality industry.
Good day, I'm Chriselle Sampolio and I am the next reporter. First is the Presidential Decree number 1586, Philippine Environmental Impact Assessment. It is hereby declared the policy of the state to attain and maintain a rational and orderly balance between socio-economic growth and environmental protection. There is established an environmental impact statement system based on the environmental impact statement required under Section 4 of Presidential Decree number 1151 of all agencies of the national government, including government-owned or controlled corporations as well as private corporations, firm and entities for every proposed project and undertaking which significantly affect the quality of the environment. The President of the Philippines may, on his own initiative or upon recommendation of the National Environmental Protection Council by proclamation, declares certain projects, undertakings, or areas in the country as environmental critical. It states that no person, partnership, or corporation shall undertake or operate any such declared environmental critical project or area without procuring an environmental compliance certificate issued by the President. The National Environmental Protection Council shall issue the necessary rules and regulations to implement the decree. Next is the DENR Administrative Order Number 26 Series of 1992. This administrative order has the following objectives: effectively enforce RA 9275 by establishing linkage among the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. These industrial establishments, which are potential and actual source of pollution, and local government agencies and that carry out the national policy of maintaining a reasonable quality of the environment. This order shall cover the accreditation of pollution control officers, meaning a technical person competent in pollution control and environmental management performing the duties and responsibilities in a particular establishment and officially accredited by the Environmental Management Bureau. Regional office to perform such responsibilities and discharge solid, liquid, and gas waste to the environment or whose activities, projects, products, or services are actually or potentially source of land, air, or water pollution. This order shall likewise apply to local government units, LGUs, development authorities, government-owned and controlled corporation, and other public establishments. Next is the Hazardous Waste Policy, Republic Act 6969. Proper management of hazardous waste generated within the country by promoting in order preference, minimization of hazardous waste generation at source, recycling and reuse of hazardous waste, landfilling of non-hazardous waste residue. The law aims to regulate, restrict, or prohibit the importation, manufacture, processing, sale, distribution, use, and disposal of chemical substance and mixtures of the present unreasonable risk to human health. It likewise prohibits the entry, even in transit, of hazardous and nuclear waste and their disposal into the Philippine territorial limits of whatever purpose, and to provide advancement and facilitate research and study on toxic chemicals. Next is an act to enhance the mobility of disabled persons by requiring certain buildings, institutions, establishments, and public utilities to install facilities and other devices. Batas Pambansa bilang 344. Educational institutions, airports, sports and recreation centers and complex shopping center or establishments, public parking places, workplaces, public utilities shall be granted or issued unless the owner or operator thereof shall install and incorporate in such building, establishment, institution, or public utility such architectural facilities or structural features as shall reasonably enhance the mobility of disabled persons, such as sidewalks, ramps, railings, and the likes.
The number 5, Hotel Code of 1974. Number 6, Republic Act 10611, otherwise known as the Food Safety Act of 2013. Number 7, Code on Sanitation of the Philippines, Chapter 3, Food Establishment. The hospitality industry encompasses arts, entertainment, recreations, accommodation, and food services. Industry laws relate to guests and employees and include legislation on employee health and safety, labor laws, environmental protections, hygiene, alcohol, licensing regulations, negligence, privacy, and contrast. Good housekeeping practices. The 5S systems is a lean manufacturing tool and describes how to work can be performed effectively, efficiently, and safely or good. Housekeeping practices. There are 5 steps in the systems, each starting with the letter S. Number 1 is sort. The first step is sorting all items in the work area, such as cleaning materials, brooms, vacuum cleaners, and anything used for work. Number 2 is set in order. This step is the act of making every item or tool needed for housekeeping much easier to access. Number 3, shine. This is the step that involves cleaning and inspecting the workplace. Ang 5S housekeeping ay tumutukoy po ito sa pagpapatupad ng 5S methodology para mapanatili ang kalinisan, kaligtasan at mapahusay ang lugar ng pinagtatrabahuhan. Ang katagang ito ay nagmula po sa 5 salita ng Japanese na ang bawat isa ay nagsisimula sa letrang S, kaya po ito ay tinawag na 5S.
Standardize refers to the process of making something conform to a specific standard or set of guidelines. It involves establishing a uniform or consistent approach to a particular task, process, or measurement. The purpose of standardization is to ensure consistency, reliability, and quality in product, services, or procedures. Sustain refers to the practice of using resources in a way that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. A feature refers to a noteworthy aspect or characteristic of the natural environment or sustainable practices. It represents a specific element that contributes to the functioning, health, and preservation of the environment or promote sustainable development. Care and maintenance refers to the process of properly looking after and preserving something to ensure its longevity, functionality, and appearance. It involves routine tasks and practices performed to prevent damage, address issues, and keep something in optimal condition. Common brand names are generic terms used to describe a general type or category of product, while brand names are specific names or trademarks given to a product by a particular manufacturer or company. Common names refer to widely recognized names that are not specific to any particular brand, while brand names are used to differentiate and market products from different companies. A trash compactor is a device or machine that is used to compress or reduce the size of waste or garbage. It is typically used in homes, commercial establishments, and industrial settings to efficiently manage and dispose of solid waste.
Garbage disposer is a unit or a device, usually electrically powered, installed under the kitchen sink between the sink's drain and the tap. This type of equipment is of two kinds, batch feeder or continuous feeders. It keeps food waste out of the garbage can by grinding the food and letting cold water carry this down the drain. Features: power. Batch feeder models came in 3 motor size, 1/2, 3/4, and 1 horsepower. Continuous feeders offer 1/2, 1/3, 3/4, and 1 horsepower. Anti-jamming device, an overload switch to shut off the motor when a jam occurs. Splash guard to avoid backup and flooded sink corrosion resistant. Care and maintenance. Avoid jam by excluding hard objects like bones and raw root crops. Water should be fast flowing. Not recommended for facility with cesspool or with a septic tank. Common brand names: Thermidor, General Electric, Sink Master. In the figure below, a food waste disposer is a kitchen appliance that grinds food scraps into small particles to be easily disposed of through the kitchen drain. It is installed beneath the sink and helps reduce the amount of organic waste going to landfills.
Magandang buhay. So, I have this real life experience sa hotel last month lang sa tour ng second year Sofitel. Sobrang environmentally friendly ng hotel na to kasi wala kang makikitang plasticware kahit saan. So, yung mga plasticware mo lang na makikita is mga dala lang ng guest. So, sobrang eco-friendly talaga niya. Hindi sila nagpo-promote ng mga plastic na items. Sa loob ng room, yung room slippers, it's made up of paper. Then yung hanger nila made of wood. Yung toothbrush, also made of wood. Then yung bottles and glass, mga babasagin. So based on my research, Sofitel Munich Bayer Post has been awarded the prestigious Green Key certification in July 2023. So, ano nga ba yung tinatawag na Green Key certification? So, ang Green Key is an eco-label for tourism and leisure establishment and is awarded to companies that meet a number of environmental requirements. So, yung Green Key na certification, ina-award lang siya sa mga hotels na sobrang committed and so fully nagbibigay ng effort para sa environment, para ma-protect nila yung environment.
So another example of real-life experience is Starbucks is now using reusable packaging instead of single-use, expanding their plant-based menu. They also invest in agriculture, forest conservation, and water replenishment. Starbucks affirms its commitment to a resource-positive future with new investments in eco-friendly operations, regenerative agricultural practices, and an environmentally friendly menu.
Earlier this year, Starbucks shared its multi-decades commitment to become a resource-positive company by storing more carbon than it emits, eliminating waste, and replenishing more fresh water than it uses. Today, at its 2020 Biennial Investors Day, Starbucks President and CEO Kevin Johnson reaffirmed Starbucks' planet-positive future. Now, the company has formalized its 2030 environmental goals to cut its carbon, water, and waste footprints by half. Starbucks has made a long-term commitment to become a resource-positive company aiming to store more carbon than it emits, eliminate waste, and replenish more fresh water than it uses. During its 2020 Biennial Investors Day, CEO Kevin Johnson reaffirmed this commitment, and recently the company has formalized specific environmental goals for 2030. These goals include reducing its carbon, water, and waste footprints by half, demonstrating Starbucks' dedication to sustainability and environmental responsibility.
So, thank you for listening. And the members of Group 4 are Pinuela Katrina, Pitas Joshmir, Kitchon Angelica, Ruanes Geraldine, Sampolio Cruciel, Tolosa Diana Rose, Umali Eliza, Villarreal Jan Miko, and Virtudes Palome.